being me was a superpower, I booked.
Yeah.
Then I booked again. Then I booked again. And then I worked with Mark Wahlberg, right? On this movie, Contraband. And she was like, stop. Just stop. This is terrible. Like, I need y'all to take this shit serious because this could change your life. This young man, his life is about to change. And I'm sitting there like,
I'm Hensei Kuala. I've spent years building a career in finance and investments. I've had the privilege of working the nitty-gritty of high-stakes deals on both the buyer and seller side. Through it all, I've studied what really makes a deal work, the intricacies, the strategy, the mindset it takes to succeed in business and entrepreneurship. And where I've learned through it all, it's really not that hard. Join me as I go behind the scenes, behind the deals with some of the world's most successful entrepreneurs and business leaders. Welcome to It's Not That Hard.
How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Blessed and highly favored. Yeah, I can't complain.
I feel it always.
Yeah.
And, I really, want to connect with you and, talk about the dope things that you have coming up. One of them especially is the agri-hood. And, I really wanted to know, starting from the beginning, where you came from, your journey and what led you to even, want to start a project like this.
Right.
What's the current outlook and what does tomorrow look like? Yeah.
Right.
So starting off, tell me about yourself, from the beginning, what was Jason Mitchell, a little boy, growing up young and everything,
No, I love it, man. So, I'm originally from New Orleans, right? But I'm an Army brat. Okay. So my mom's originally from New Orleans and my dad is from San Francisco. They met in Germany. Had the kid, you know what I mean? But early in their relationship, things just started going left. You know what I mean? My dad, he was a Green Beret. He was a war-trained soldier, And as a result, him and my mom just couldn't get along. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep their business, but I'm, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So early on, I don't really remember too much of Germany. We moved to New Orleans when I was very young. And then we moved to Belgium when I was in the second grade, right? So I leave New Orleans and go back to Europe. So I felt like I got this chance to get cultured, you know what I mean? And to learn about other people and to be able to see something rather than just the hood.
Yeah.
But then culture shock again, moved back to New Orleans, right? So, I spent all of my high school years there, all of that, and it was just a very violent place to grow up. As much as I love my city, it was just a very violent place,
How did you survive through that? It's the culture shock and then how'd you weather the storm? Because that's crazy.
It's so funny, man. It's like I always had a praying mother. I always had a praying mother. And
shouts out to mothers everywhere.
Yeah, Mom.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, which I know you probably are, I appreciate you so much. Because I remember, man, it's so funny. Like so many thoughts hit me in this little section right now. But I remember arguing with my mom. I'm like in the 11th grade, right? And, I just started driving. I got me a little whip. I think I'm lit, And I'm like, I really want to go to this party. And she was like, you can't go. And in my mind, I'm like, man, I'm making my own money. I'm doing my own thing. Like, how you gonna tell me what I can and can't do, right? She was like, I don't know, son. I just feel it in my spirit for you not to go.
Yeah.
So there was a shooting at a party that night. Like 11 people got hit.
Wow.
Yeah. And after that, I was like, I couldn't even find it in my heart to tell my mama. Yeah. You know what I mean? It took me maybe a year or two to be like, that day, you was right. You know what I mean? But from then on, I just knew that whatever connection that she had to whatever higher power she was talking to was the right thing to do. And it wasn't enough to sway me away from the streets though at the time.
Yeah. It was crazy about the shooting story. My mom growing up, my mom would never let me go to anything. Right? Not good.
Right.
One of the reasons why she'd always tell me the story about, I'm from Liberia, immigrant. And she would always tell me a story about, one of her homeboys who, when moved to America, he went out to a party and he got shot in the back and was paralyzed from the waist down. I probably met the guy, a handful of times, but she would always reference that's the reason why I never let you out like that because of that. So that really touches my heart because I've, that's when my mom was like, nah.
Right, exactly. Because my mom used to tell me, you'll never understand until you have your own kids. You know what I mean? And that's so true, but listen, Katrina hit when I was 18 years old, right? And everybody had this idea in their mind, when they were saying, oh, if you went through Katrina, we'll let you go to college free and we'll let you do this free and that free. And in my mind, I'm like, Sally Mae gonna be on your ass. You know what I mean? Sally Mae might as well be the IRS. It's free now, but someday it will not be free. And I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know I had no plans at all. So I was like, why go to college? What am I going to do? Study general studies? I don't know what to study because I don't know what I want to be. I just know I want to own my own business. I used to journal a lot, right? And when I was in the 5th or 6th grade, I wrote something in a journal that says, I don't know what business I want, but I know I want to have a building and I know I want to have my feet up on my desk. I was like, but I was in the 5th grade. You know what I mean? But that was the mindset that I always kept for myself. So after Katrina hit, all I could think was, how do I stay out of my mom's pockets? You know what I mean? I can help her by being a man. Yeah. And I thought I knew everything about being a man. You know what I mean? And I was on my way. But I kept hitting the wall. I kept getting in trouble. I kept, I just felt lost, And when I was, I want to say 23, my best friend was killed. Oh. And I talked to him a lot about it. I really wanted him to stay out of this situation. I got him killed because everybody was dead serious. Nobody was playing. And he got shot 17 times, broad daylight, right after he left my house. And
why? What was it? Was it gang violence? What was it?
Yeah, you could say that. It was, I to be honest, I don't like to speak too much on these types of things because they still be active, and I was trying to tell him, minding your business to get you to the top. You know what I mean? But if I can't speak on it at all, what I can say is that, they had somebody that was a rat. Yeah. Who was a stone cold killer, even though he did decide to tell he was a rat. And they figured that if they set him up properly, that they could get him. Cause he, when people be on it, you know what I mean? Even though I ratted, I'm still a killer. And I'm, so they had a plan to set him up and do something to him. But I'm like, he didn't rat on you. He didn't tell on you. He didn't kill nobody you love. None of this has anything to do with you. Yeah. But he inserted himself into that, and ultimately, that got him killed. Yeah. And
how'd you process that? I've lost, my best friend. I had got a painting commemorated of him, almost 10 years ago. Yeah. I lost him. How'd you process through that? I know for me it was challenging. Just thinking that, what could I have done to prevent him from being in that situation? What more, spent a lot of time thinking what more could I have done? How did you process through that?
The sad part is I didn't process it. I didn't. I had nobody to talk to about it. I was afraid to talk to anybody about it. I got offered free therapy from the state. You know what I mean? Because they knew the process. Because it's never like TV. They always know the whole story. You know what I mean? He told his girlfriend everything. Yeah. His girlfriend told the police everything. So, of course, they showed up to my house. It's a real thing. But, when they offered me therapy, I thought they was trying to get me to rat. You know what I mean? This is when the story comes out. And I'm like, nah. So I just kind of left it alone. And I tried to cover it as much as I could. But, damn, now that I look back at it, because he could rap real good. Like, everybody know. Like, everybody I hang with, they had some talent. And it made me run from all of that. It made me run from rap. It made me run from the things that made me great. You know what I mean? I felt like music was my first love. And by my friends getting killed, like, he wasn't the only one, you know what I mean? Like, Dale, he got killed. A couple of people got caught up in this process, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, yo, my world is closing in on me. I really do not know what to do, And it's so funny because my sister was an accountant. And me and her grew up in the same house, obviously. But she 4 years older than me, right? And she always used to be like, that's them niggas you hanging with. Blah, 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 blah. And I used to really be in my mind like, where are you meeting these people who wear slacks and hard bottoms in New Orleans? Like, where are these people at? Because the whole New Orleans to me is thugged out. So, like, where are you meeting these people, right? So then I hear this ad on the radio about an acting class, right? And I'm riding with one of my partners, and he like, bro, you need to do that, son. You be having everybody laughing. You be doing these different voices. Like, you need to try it. So I was like, bet. We laughed about it or whatever. And I ain't do it.
Wow.
I ain't do it. I ain't even go. I don't know. Like,
Or you shy, or you didn't feel confident. One of the people always like, talk about like imposter syndrome. Did you feel like I was, he wasn't good enough to like why didn't you do it initially?
To be honest, I was hanging around a bunch of idiots, and all we knew was the tough shit was the cool shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't cool or tough to be an actor. That's all I could process from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So one day he asked me, this had to be like 2 weeks after. He was like, whatever happened with the acting class? Did you go? And I was like, no. I ain't, I was driving, we were smoking. Like, oh, you know what I mean? And he remembered the number off the top of his head. Exactly. That was my face. Yeah. So, like, I took it as a sign from God. You know what I mean? I was like, Mom, I hear you. Whatever you listening to has now came to find me, right? Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I probably got some niggas who ain't into what I'm into. Probably got some nice looking females in this class. Like, let me just pop out and just check it out.
Yeah.
So I went and fell in love with it, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
What'd you fall in love with about it? Like, what was it?
I felt like
it ain't the script reading.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, so what was
exactly? Let me blame my high school for a lot of that. No, but for me, I think it was a place that I didn't have to be anybody in particular in order to fit in. I didn't have to be hard. I didn't have to be about it. I didn't have to be any of those things. I just had to be present. Exactly.
Yeah.
And once I realized that I was in this space where I could be present, I realized I was acting for every other situation. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be tough. My dad, he killed himself when I was 15 years old. I wanted to X that out of my mind. I ain't put no tears towards that. My partner's getting killed. I went to the 4th worst school in America at the time. They didn't even open it back up after Katrina. They was like, we're going to shut that down. You know what I mean? After Katrina, they was just like, like, no, like, let's cut this school out. It was very lean on me, So I realized in that moment, like, I had been robbing myself of joy and of fun even. Like some of the things that I thought were fun and cool and all of that was, you know what I mean? It just really wasn't it. So I get into class and I'm having these moments that feel very therapeutic, right? And then I did my, we had to do a monologue, right? So I'm looking on the internet, going through these monologues, and I'm seeing like Shakespeare and all of this stuff. And I'm like, man, I would never do this. Like, what the hell am I doing, right? And yeah, so I'm like, I don't know. So then the class comes up, and I'm paying for the class. It ain't like they paying me, you know what I mean? So I'm like, whatever. So it's time for me to do my monologue, and I get up there, and the first thing that comes to my mind is this song by T.I. called I Still Ain't Forgave Myself. So I took out some of the rhyming words, I took the hook out, and I made that my monologue, right? But tears start coming for real. And my sister was in there, and tears start coming for real, because this is my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I really want out of this. So after that washed over me, like, I felt like a new person. You know, like, you ever got your ass whooped for doing something, you know? And like while you was at school, you know, like, oh, when I get home, my mom gonna whoop my ass like this. You know, it's...
Yeah, I was always afraid of getting my ass beat. So so I never, so personally, right, you know, because, you know, yeah, no, my mom, yeah, the slightest though. I stories of, but
yeah, you get what I'm saying, though. That fear that you live with, that black mama strike into you from a child.
Yeah.
So I'm going home like, oh man, you know, I really, but then once you get the whooping, and you get in trouble or do whatever you got to do, and you go in your room and cry it off and sleep it off, you wake up like, oh, all that trouble is gone. I can go eat this spaghetti. You know what I mean? It's going to be great. That was the exact feeling that I had after I let that out. Wow. And I was like, man, this is a beautiful thing for me. You know what I mean? Like, this is the therapy that I needed.
It's a crazy comp to a post-ass beating, but...
Right, you know, yeah, but we get the reference, you know? So, after that, I still did the same hard-headed thing. I decided not to show up to class. I mean, from 6 to 9 o'clock, 3 days a week, these are prime drug dealer hours.
Yeah.
I need to be outside. You know what I mean? So I stopped going to class, you know? And, I got to give props to Jamil Jones, and I got to give props to Jacqueline Fleming, because they came and got me.
Yeah.
I'm in the hood, and they pulled up like, what are you doing? You're going to ruin your life. You're a star, all these things. I'm like, whatever. Like, because I just couldn't see it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just couldn't see myself being that. So Jamil was like, listen, I think you need to take this serious. You know, whatever. So I'm like, all right. So I go to class the next time, and they have this lady, Tasha Smith Mills, right? She was in there wrapped up like a mummy and all kind of Louis Vuitton shit. You can only see her eyes. You know what I mean? And she's wrapped up in the back of the class, like, you know. And I went up there, I did my stuff or whatever, and they had like a group go behind us, like a scene or whatever behind us. And she was like, just stop. This is terrible. Like, I need y'all to take this shit serious, because this could change your life. This young man, his life is about to change. And I'm sitting there like, like, yeah, today I'm about to sign you.
That light shining on.
Yeah, and I was like, what? It blew my mind, right? And we talking about 5 weeks into an 8-week class. You know what I mean? So Jamil was like, listen, tomorrow, come to my studio. You know, I'm going to take some headshots of you and all of that. Like, it's going to be great. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So I went, and I think that was the first time I ever realized that I had something that I wasn't seeing, that the world might have an eye on. Yeah. You know? And I'm forever appreciative of that. You know what I mean?
An epiphany of that.
Right. Like, just seeing myself on these pictures, it's like, you know, even when I went in the hood, I'm showing niggas my pictures. They like, boy, you think you sexy or something? What's going on? You know, and even though they talk shit about me, they knew.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, son, this is for you. Yeah. This is the thing for you, you know? So, I don't know, maybe 5 months after that, I booked my first movie, Texas Killing Fields. Yeah. Right? And they didn't have, like, I was never an extra on set. Like, I had never experienced set.
Yeah. Were you an extra on that?
No. I had 3 lines. I was the 7-Eleven clerk, right? And I was working with like Chloe Moretz and Jason Clark and, you know, Stephen Graham and all of these people who are like moguls. But I'm like, some white people. You know what I mean? I don't really know. I don't really follow this kind of shit. So I'm just.
How'd you even get that role? Like, was it through the acting class? Did you put yourself out? Like,
well,
or did you like respond to an ad? Because, you know, I don't, you know, talk about actors and stuff like that. I know, right. You know, right now with the AI and stuff, you know, right. Impact. And so, like, how did you differentiate yourself? I know it's different, like, but like, yeah, what was that?
So
to get on there.
So at the time, you know, it was all about my agent getting me auditions, right? It wasn't the first audition I had. Like, I bombed 20 of them easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's all about the presence, and people don't know that you're supposed to be yourself, and all of these different things. And some people have like these myths, like oh, don't shake the casting director's hand when you walk in. They have 50 other people that they're talking to in the same hour. Like, but how would you feel if you was gonna give somebody a job and they walked in and didn't shake your hand? Exactly. You know what I mean? It's weird,
right? Like,
exactly.
Right? You know, you go and you shake. Yeah.
Exactly. So once I got to the point where I realized being me was a superpower, I booked.
Yeah.
Then I booked again. Then I booked again. And then I worked with Mark Wahlberg, right? On this movie, Contraband. And he ended up shooting a different movie called Broken City. And he was like, that kid, Jason, he has a great smile. He was cool to work with. Like, just call him back. So they called me back and was like, hey, would you like to be in this movie, Broken City? You're pretending to be an actor. And I was like, oh, great. Now I'm just chilling, right?
So wait, hold on. Your role was pretending to be an actor. So you're acting as pretending to be an actor.
Exactly. So I was like, all right, cool. This is great.
Yeah.
So we're sitting at this like table, right? The scene is like Mark Wahlberg's girlfriend is an actor, and she, you know, is at this like dinner with these actors or whatever. So they had a guy who was like going through some things at the time, you know, some personal stuff, but he just couldn't get his lines out. Yeah. And I was like, I'll take some lines. You know what I mean? So I ended up, you know, taking some of his lines and just really shining on that day.
You ever been in that situation before where you were like him?
Well, I couldn't remember my lines?
Yeah.
Never. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Right?
It ain't even just that. It's like, bro, it's so hot. Like, we in Texas right now. It's hot as hell. We could be roofing. You know what I mean? Like, we could have the landscaping business. Like, I done had some odd jobs before. So when it comes to just like knowing your lines and you getting paid more money than you ever been paid in your life, like, cause at scale is what they call it in Hollywood. I mean, I'm making $101 an hour to have fun and bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, what? I'm about to make this money. Are you kidding me? You know, so I kind of made an impression on Mark.
Yeah.
Right. And I really feel that put me on the radar for Universal, because he does, you know, a lot of his projects and stuff through Universal. So I auditioned for Eazy-E. And my number was like number 7,001. Yeah. You know, I sent in a tape. They called me back like 40-something days later. I didn't think I had a chance. And they was like, yeah, we want you to come to L.A. tomorrow for a callback. And I was like, wait, can I still not get the role if I do a callback? They was like, yeah. And I was like, well, you know, the way my life's set up, you know what I mean? I can't just take off and go to L.A. tomorrow. You know what I mean? So,
went for a chance.
Exactly. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just be honest. You know, so I just kept it real with him. I was like, I can't really move around. I got this, I got that. I got these situations in my life. I can't move around. So I was like, all right, we'll call you back. They called me back in 30 minutes. It was like, yeah, F. Gary Gray wants to Skype with you. This is before Zoom and all of that shit, right? So I'm like, bet. So I go to the casting director, like, listen, I'm scared for it to skip. I'm scared for the connection not to be right at my house. Like, can y'all please help me figure out this Skype situation? So we Skyped for an hour and 17 minutes. And that's how I booked that role. And then I took off.
Wow. It's an hour 17?
Hour 17.
Did you read through all your lines?
Yeah. We had 5 scenes that we redid over and over and over. And like the scene that everybody loves with Easy in the hospital bed and all of that. When he find out he got AIDS, I did all of that in the audition. Yeah. And yeah, bro, I was in tears. I did it all. You know, I gave it up. I even dressed like Eazy-E when I went, and it was like, oh, that's cute. You gotta take that off, though. You know what I mean? I was like, damn.
Well, like, you know, you talked about earlier, you know, like your friend passing away and getting shot. Also, rough neighborhood. Like, did you bring anything from that experience into your role of Eazy-E? And if, or what was it like?
Oh, absolutely.
To it.
Absolutely, bro. I feel like, I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I was still in that life when I booked Eazy-E. You know them. I was still outside. You know what I mean? I was still calling my baby mama like, look, this person needed this person needed that while I was in California doing the movie. You know what I mean? Like, it was like that. Yeah. So I was so in tap with the streets at the time that some of it wasn't even acting. You know what I mean? I just had to switch the accent up and start talking like I was from Cali. You know what I mean? Start talking like a real Crip. You know what I mean? And I got a lot. I think I got a lot done by being very humble about that part of it. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, I brought a lot to it, bro. I brought a lot to it from my actual situations at the time, for sure.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, you know, I didn't grow up, you know, in specifically like that, but you know, I definitely dealt with challenges and overcame. It sounds like that's what you dealt with, overcoming. You know, I always like to think about, like, you know, we don't decide where we start off,
right?
But we decide where we end up,
right,
in life, and that's what it sounds like that you did there.
Yeah.
You know, took your starting point and decided to pivot. You know, like, I'm curious, you know, in this world, the fast changing world, you know, of a lot of different things, you know, we see on the news, and you know, and a lower income areas, their, you know, children may not be following their you know, the guidelines. And if you could boil it down to say, like, maybe the 2-3 things that, like, you know, words or phrases that really kept you grounded and motivated, like you kept on, you know, reiterating to yourself, you know, to push through and weather through the storm.
It was real simple for me. It was like, they don't know yet.
Yeah.
They don't know yet. Like, a lot of people ask me, oh, how do you feel now that you're famous? Yeah. Like I'm not crazy no more. You know what I mean? Because I started to see the vision before anybody else. Like, to be honest, my mom, my grandpa, like a lot of people who were around me of authority, they thought that I was lying about acting so I could keep selling drugs, because that was the only way I could say, oh, I'm making this amount of money. I had one of the mamas that, where you made this money? You know what I mean? She'll flush your shit down the toilet. Like, she ain't playing none of that. You know, so they thought that I was just saying that I was acting because I needed an excuse for the type of money that I was making in the street. You know, but I think I was in this weird place of, like, survivor's remorse a little bit, though. Yeah. You know, now that I look back at it, because I remember when we did Mudbound, right? Was it Mudbound or Keanu? Might have been Keanu. No, because we did Keanu before Straight Outta Compton was even out. So Mudbound, right? We shooting Mudbound. And this is my first time seeing New Orleans from a different angle. I started to see why everybody loved New Orleans now, because I'm staying in a 5-star hotel. I'm living a 5-star kind of life. But then you got people like peeking. Jason, they gotta sweep the floor. How do I get a job? How do I get a job? I just want to do anything. Just give me a job. And I'm like, ugh. I mean, we outside. There ain't no floor to sweep. Like, I don't know what to tell you to do. Yeah. But at that moment, I started telling myself, like, I'm going to figure this out for us. Yeah. I'm going to be the bridge.
Yeah, you gonna take the burden off.
Exactly. Exactly. So I started, like, just monitoring everything, because there's these 100 other people on set, and you're like, what is their job? What are they doing? What is this person doing? Because all I knew was somebody had to hold the camera, and somebody had to act, and somebody had to direct. Everything else was brand new to me. So I started making it my business to just be a fly on the wall and watching everybody's job and putting a name to that job and showing how these people, you know, my people, could get involved with it. Yeah. Right? So I started this 501c called Dream Seeker to teach all what they call the below the line jobs. Yeah. Right? So I've now been taking people on set and, you know, just giving scholarships and all of that and flying people out, and it's been better than acting, bro. Yeah. It's been way better than acting. The way it feels is just like, man, I'm finally doing something.
I'm curious about that, because then, I've spoken to people and they've talked about like how, what, I do and what you do, right? You get paid a lot of money,
Right.
but like, it comes a point in time where like, that it's not about the money. It's truly what I give back in return.
Exactly.
And that sounds like what you're doing. So, what puts a smile on your face with dream seekers? Like, well, what, is it, a kid that didn't know that they were going to be in there and they're like, oh my gosh, is it seeing someone, graduate from your program and now they get a job, doing, something that you introduced them to? What is that?
I mean, I think it's a mixture of all of that, right? Because instant gratification is huge, but if you want to get real scientific, the biggest dopamine release that you can get is doing something great for somebody else.
Yeah.
So I started to have these moments where I was like, yo, like I got this kid Dez who I've been working with, and I put him on sets with me, and when you have a director run to you and say, bro, this kid, he doing everything with us. You know what I mean? That's dope, because a lot of these people don't see what they're capable of, right? Like, I'll give you an example. They have what they call an AD, an assistant director. These people are really getting the job done.
Yeah.
Directors have a vision, actors have a vision, but we're artists. We're supposed to be weird and not on a time schedule and all of this, but ADs are like, no, we gotta move. Yeah. We gotta move. And they're making the movie really happen. But a lot of those people don't have friends. They're the most hated person on set.
Why?
Because they gotta tell everybody what to do.
Oh, cause
you know what I mean? Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, this is some of the greatest.
I have a similar shtick, oftentimes I'm called a dick. People,
right.
You gotta keep things moving.
Exactly. And that's why I feel like me and you have such a good relationship, because I just get it, right? Yeah. I understand that. But when you're a child and you have that, they consider you a bully.
Yeah.
They consider you this, they consider you that. But what if we could take the bully and turn them into an AD?
Yeah.
What does that mean? When you become a millionaire from having the right personality.
Yeah.
And not giving a fuck what people think. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
care about the mission.
Exactly. And I feel like that's my move, bro. I may not make the best movie in the world. I may not direct the best movie in the world. I may not produce the best movie. But I guarantee you, I'm going to influence that person.
Yeah, the people that... You're going to make a difference to the people. Yes. And that ultimately is what matters the most. Right?
Exactly.
Making a difference and imparting something on someone's life and impacting them in a way that, may not otherwise have been impacted.
Exactly.
So I'm curious, about agrihood here. Like, first, what is an agrihood?
Oh, I love this. I love this.
And, what, of... growing up in the hood, seeing, like, man, I have homeboys that have been killed and shot, overcoming, pushing through, an actor, why an agrihood? What is an agrihood? Why an agrihood?
I know, right? Such a left turn for me. Okay, so an agrihood it's a residential neighborhood that incorporates farm to table living and agriculture into the average household.
Yeah.
Right? And I think, I don't know how it was when you were young, right? You're a little bit younger than me, but when I was young, one of the biggest commercials we saw was milk does the body good.
Yeah.
And now that I am where I am, if I drink milk, I gotta stay home. I gotta call off. You know what I mean? I might as well tape myself to the toilet. Like, it's gonna get really, really real. Oh. Like, milk does not do the body good at all. You know what I mean? We done all cried over McDonald's and your mama reaching in the back seat. You got McDonald's money. You know what I mean? Like, getting on everybody's ass.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the food got us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I grew up in New Orleans, and it's a food frenzy out there. And everybody my age is spilling over their clothes. You know what I mean? And I wanted to start with the kids. I feel like if you're going to add some sort of structure, I feel like as Black people, after all of the stuff that we've been through, we are in this weird stagnant space of creating infrastructure and creating some sort of structure for us to be there, right? Because everything that we do, a lot of times, it be some mad shit. You know, we gonna march through the streets and we gonna tear our own shit up and we gonna do this and we gonna do that. But we could just plant this tree and make sure that we got something to eat. We could put this farm together and make sure we got something to eat. We could just start there.
So instead of being reactive, it's being proactive.
Exactly.
You know, instead of,
Exactly. You know, because one thing I learned from playing Eazy-E was that nonviolent protests was the move. That's why they made Fuck the Police. Because it was nonviolent protests. We're going to make a song and this is what it's going to be. And it made people come together. So if I'm going to keep that sort of wave going, I'm not going to say fuck the FDA. I'm not going to say fuck the government. I'm not going to say none of that. I'm going to say, let's start with a neighborhood that focuses on us first. Let's feed ourselves properly. Let's treat each other properly. Let's love on each other, you know, because you're not just growing vegetables and, you know, you're not just doing that. You're meeting your neighbors. You're bartering with neighbors. You're teaching, you're instilling something in your kids from a very early age.
So it's a neighborhood with the agriculture sort of commune type feel where like the collaboration.
Yeah.
And so like where's this agriculture type thing? Is it in the middle? Is it like you know, where, you know, a subdevelopment gonna have a neighborhood pool?
Right.
Like a neighborhood pool.
It's kind of similar to that though, right? So, you know, I can only bite off as much as I can chew right now, right? So right now we got 22 acres and we're gonna have 10 homes on that. Each of those homes will have its own greenhouse and it'll have like a chicken coop with like 4 chickens in it. And then we have a community garden, which consists of like, I don't know, maybe 2 acres of, you know, goodness. And then we have a pavilion for all of those people to then be able to go to and barter with each other and whatnot. But, after, you know, what my dad went through and watching what my mom went through, I felt like it was just on my heart to start with veterans, you know, because these people go serve our country and, you know, they 19, 20 years old doing this, doing that, killing this person, killing that person, getting blown up or whatever, and then they send them back home. And as long as they don't have any physical ailments that they can see, the VA is like, you good, you know what I mean? Don't worry that you saw 25 people lose their life and you might have shot a kid. That's not a big deal. You know what I mean? So if I feel like, you know, this is just my way of kind of making my dad smile and doing something in his honor. You know what I mean? And every veteran that comes through there, you know, we allow them to re-enter society with purpose.
So that's mad dope. So, like, are you, you know, with the agrihood, are you developing the homes as well, or is it just the
Yeah. The homes. Okay, so I'm in this space now, right? Because I always loved like earth homes and, you know, stuff that's like green friendly. You know what I mean? Because we want to treat Mother Earth good. Like we got to take care of her. Because if we just keep building these cities to the sky, like it's only gonna be so long.
Yeah, some of concrete and steel. You know,
exactly.
Green.
Exactly. So, you know, we making sure that we not only have sustainable farming, but we also have these houses that are doing every bit of that along with us, from collecting rainwater to, you know, solar panels and all of these different pieces that allow our way of living to not harm the land as well. Which is, it's really fun. Cool. It's really fun.
That's pretty cool. Have you been, you know, Cedar Hill? You know, they have this new thing, the library in the park. Have you been to?
Yes.
To that?
That's exactly where I'm at with it.
Visit that.
It's over like 7 acres. And
yeah. It's like in the park and it's, you know, when we met, linked up several weeks ago, probably maybe like a couple months ago now, and I think DLC and Chris were talking about that, and I thought that was pretty cool. I still have it on my list, so I take a look at there. So very similar concept there to that. Bringing the nature in, bringing the inside out, and having that collaboration there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So how do you put, I know one of the big things, renewable energy. I got solar panels, my house here. I drive an EV.
Right.
What?
I love it.
So expand more on the sustainability. You mentioned solar panels and things like that. So what other energy initiatives there? Cause, right now, we as Americans may not really, it doesn't touch us as much as other places, but I know there's a lot of talk, of finding those, maximizing, the usage of renewable energy. So what differentiates, an agri-hood and the sustainability versus a person just putting up solar panels on their house?
Right. I think it starts with where, everything fits into the process, right? Like for me, we have a pond. We have 2 ponds on the land.
There are fish in the pond?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do people fish for them, or is this the fish is just for the ambiance?
No, the fish is just, people can fish for them, but right now they're just for the ambiance. You know what I mean? So, the thing about pond water or lake water or anything like that natural, it has a whole lot more nutrients in it, which is why you see so much wildlife in and around it, right? So we have an irrigation system that's going from the pond to the plants, right? And each one of those goes to the houses as well, so they can have their green.
Oh, is that where people so do people get they turn on their faucet? Is that coming from
No, right? Because obviously it takes a lot of filtration to get all of this stuff out of the pond water. You won't be drinking pond water. But the problem with drinking city water, no shade to the city, right? Mm-hmm. The problem with drinking that is, birth control is at an all-time high. And let's say you use, your girl uses the bathroom, she flushes the toilet, that estrogen that leaves her body, that extra estrogen is now in the water, right? Which is why you see so many men having such low testosterone levels because they don't have anything that's filtering them from the tap water, right? Yeah. So they have all of this stuff that's in the water, all of these things. So the water that's coming from, the city that we have, that ultimately end up in somebody's shower or their body or whatever it may be, we filter that on a completely different level, which allows them to then put something very clean into their body. Not almost. It's to the point where if you wanted to focus specifically on putting potassium or a certain type of vitamin into your body, we could put that into the water specifically for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the water that gets filtered through your refrigerator or out of your faucet or whatever is not just the average tap water. Yeah. And it's mark my words, it's going to be one of the things that people come to the agri-hood, not just to see, but to be like, let me fill up this water jug while we at it. You know what I mean? Because, the things that go into your body are so important, man. They're so important. They change your attitude. They change, obviously, your weight and the way your brain works and all of these things. And you have to think about it the way Mother Nature designed it.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to get as close as we can to that.
Absolutely. Healthier living, great for your body, things like that. Well, where's the agri-hood?
It's in Gordonsville, Texas. So it's like a mile away from Lake Texoma. It's probably closer to Oklahoma than it is here, but
but it's still in Texas. So.
Yeah, exactly. But it's dope, bro. It's dope. It's something that's growing, and I think we blow past these cliche things that people say, like, oh, just do the work and the help will come.
Yeah.
But that's been so true.
Yeah.
So many people have been supporting me because I didn't know fuck all about farming, for sure. And not ranching either. Yeah. I just found out what chiggers was. I got bites from my ankles to my armpits. You know what I mean? Because I was out there fixing this fence to make sure the cows and stuff don't get out. You know what I mean? But you know, we taking sustainability to a different level, you know, because God has everything here the way he designed it. You know, like, for instance, you have a cow pasture, right? The cows, they eat, and obviously they're going to use the bathroom everywhere, right? Then you have these flies that come and they're in the stuff, and then they drop their stuff in there. And then you have the chickens that come eat that, and they take it from 9 inches around from a cow patty to 9 feet because they scratching through it and eating all the bugs and worms and larvae and everything that's coming out. And that makes their poop very high in nitrogen. Yeah. Which puts nitrogen back into the ground, which makes the plants grow bigger. Oh, you know what I mean? Exactly. And it's like, yeah, it's so much more simple than people make it seem. Like, no pun intended. Like, it's not that hard. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's really not that hard.
Hey, I like that. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. So, like, obviously, you know, you're not the one digging in the ground. Yeah. So what partners you got that are aiding you in this? I know, you know, when we had linked up at a farm, not too far from here, there were some people, but like, you know, can you touch on those relationships and partnerships that you've fostered to aid in realizing this vision of the agri-hood?
Absolutely. So, I mean, my hat has to go off to my friend and now business partner, Gene Calloway. You know, his family has been in the farming industry for years. Yeah. These people farming hundreds of thousands of acres. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna keep his business. You know, maybe when he comes on, I'll let him speak about it all. But he knows farming and ranching like the back of his hand. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's so funny because when I first met him, like, race jokes are my favorite kind of jokes. Race jokes. I don't know why. I just find them hilarious. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm also one of those people who feel like if you can't joke about race, you might still low key be racist a little bit. You know what I mean? So
hey, I feel that. You know, if you can't, you know, be self-decrepit, you know, not take yourself too seriously. You know, in life, you know, we're all really the same.
Right. Exactly.
DNA is 99.99% the same.
Exactly. Exactly. So when I met him, I was at a car wash, right? And I was there with my girl and shit. And he came and he pulled up in the Escalade, and I was like, "Ooh, he got that new thing," you know. So he jumped out, and I started talking to him. My girl was talking to his girl, and I was asking him about his Escalade, and he was like, "Yeah, is that your McLaren? You're a rapper, right?" And immediately, exactly, I was joked out because he didn't know who I was, what I did, but he was like, "Nah, you too small to be a football player, basketball player."
You're a rapper athlete.
Exactly. You know, so we out there just cracking up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you're that guy." You know what I mean? And I mean, it had to be 5 or 6 months that we just hung together. Yeah. You know, just chill. We would go out, you know, our kids would get together, all kind of stuff. We'd eat at each other's house. And then one day, you know, my girl's like, "You know who he is?" And he was like, "Hell no, you know who I am?" Like, you know, because like we would go out places and people would trip, you know what I mean? And she was like, "You know who he is?" And she was like, "No." Like, "You know who I am?" type of thing. And we was like, "No." So he told us like, "Yeah, you know, our company did 2.9 billion last year." We like, "Damn, well, you know, I've been in this movie. You know what I mean?" And it was a really beautiful relationship that just blossomed from something real. Yeah. You know, and when he asked me about my goals, I was like, "Well, I want to build an agri-hood," and his eyes just blew up. Yeah. He was like, "Wait, what? Who told you about this?" You know? And we just had that goal in common. So we doubled down on it. You know, we went and got the land, and shit, now we in the next phase. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So what does today look like, and what does the ideal, you know, the vision, the completion of this agri-hood, what does that look like for you and Gene?
Wow. Okay, so the agri-hood itself, although it is a great space to live and you know, a great thing for veterans or anybody, it's a great thing for them. It wasn't the hugest payout, right?
Yeah, I'm sustainability.
Exactly. So I'm like, you know, it's just some kind of ordinary real estate play. Yeah. You know what I mean? In real life, right? But I start digging more into it. And like I said, we start talking to the vets and all of these different things. And I'm like, wow, why not make a dual diagnosis center? Right? Exactly. Exactly. So we got the land next to that. And a dual diagnosis center is an absolute cash cow.
Yeah.
But the thing about the majority of them, you know, they're diagnosing people and just giving them drugs.
I see.
You know, exactly.
Like an opioid farm.
Exactly. You know, and it's like, I don't really know if that's helping people.
Yeah.
So, you know, with everything that we have to offer, from equine therapy to plant therapy, like, imagine what it would be like to be in a greenhouse barefoot during an AA meeting. You're really healing people.
Yeah.
You're really doing something different. You know, so we're gonna take those two ideas and cram those together, right? And I'm not gonna lie, man. When I crunch the numbers, and I'm like, if I go public with this is how I become a billionaire.
So alternative approach to, like, you know, I know big, you know, the opioid crisis that dealt with, and, like, you know, as you stated, you know, instead of treatment, it's just prescription.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at offering something that, you know, more in tune with the natural basis, as a, you know, authentic, or, you know, and it sounds like that goes hand in hand with the algorithm. Then.
Absolutely.
Like, you know,
absolutely. Because it's like, you know, what if I told you that meditation might be better than medication?
I'd say I have to see it.
Exactly. And I'm okay with that.
You know, so you say, you know, meditation, you know, how do you, you know, I know you're a busy person, as we all are at times there. And sometimes we're like, man, I ain't got time to, you know, how long do you take to medicate? Like, I mean, not medicate, meditate. Like, how long, you know, what is that, you know, what is it, 5 minutes? Are you supposed to, you know, 30 minutes, an hour? Like,
right.
You know,
right.
What does that look like?
I mean, it's definitely different strokes for different folks, right? So I wouldn't advise everybody to go about it the same way.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, it's so crazy. Like, plants started off as kind of my thing, right? Like, I started with like a facial regimen, right? Where I would wake up every morning, and no matter what else was going on in the world, I would make sure that I took care of my face and took care of my skin, you know, and it showed. People be like, damn, you glowing. Like, what's going on? You know, and I like the way that felt. So I gave that to myself every day, right? But then I got a plant. First plant I ever got, you know, and I realized that it would show me exactly how I was doing.
How long did that plant last? You got a green thumb?
I still got it. That's the thing. I talk to my plant every day. He got a name. His name Fizzle. I talk to that plant every day, bro. And
well, his name's what?
Fizzle.
Fizzle. Okay.
Yeah, I got it. I named him Fizzle so I can say, Fizzle, what's up, bro? That's where the name come from. I don't know if I thought it through. But plants will show you how well you're taking care of it. It's not going to argue with you. It's not going to get up and walk out, but it will die. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Or it will thrive. And that's kind of up to you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So for me, it was this psychological building that I needed, you know, because I think a lot of people, you know, they're making these daily investments into themselves, and it's hard to see, right? Like, even if you're on a weight loss journey or whatever, like, when you're with yourself every day, it's hard to tell. Yeah. It takes other people sometimes to be like, you losing weight? Yeah, you trimming down? What you doing? You know what I mean? In order for you to feel better about it. You know, so I started to realize that things that I was putting a little bit into every day had the biggest payoffs. You know, so I'm just trying to give that to other people. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want other people to be okay with it. Because as men, it's like, it feel weird gardening, or it feel weird, you know, following a face regimen or whatever it may be. But like, these little things that you doing for yourself and doing for your own soul, they help you shine.
They go a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
And that, hey, that's power. That's power right there. I'm going to need your help on my plants. I got a cactus plant. You know, all my other plants are fake, but I got a cactus because I only got to water it like once every couple of months or so.
I love that. I love that. I love that.
And when I first moved, then I had a money tree. Yeah, it was great. Well, what was great to just tell people was a money tree. Right. That was the thing.
They do a lot though. They do a lot. Money trees do a lot. They keep the oxygen straight in your crib. You know what I mean? You need that at the crib, at the office, in the car. I need a money tree everywhere.
Yeah, money tree everywhere. Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that.
Cool. I probably need to get another one.
Me too. We need to plant a money tree in the middle of the agri for sure.
Yeah, a big one.
Sure, bro. Hell yeah.
Man. This has been an amazing conversation, I have to admit here. And touching on your background, your experiences and the vision for the agri-hood and really the altruistic view and the commitment, to providing value to a community and growing it, for sustainability. It's something that I think, we can all learn from. We can all value here in the world, especially, in, more like urban places. Do you have a plan to expand into to cities? I understand, the location right now, it's in a farm area, north, but are there any plans to expand into, say, like areas, say, like Dallas or like Atlanta or Houston? And if so, what does that look like?
Absolutely, bro, because, they have so many different, like, hydroponic systems and all of that you can use a small space to do a lot, right? Mm. But the way I view it is, okay, because I grew up, I got two siblings, and for the most part, I grew up with a single mom, right? So,
shout out to the single mom.
Yeah, shout out to the single moms. Y'all working super hard. We love y'all. But I would love to create some sort of automated system, right, that allows the single mother to not only be able to teach this to her kids, but to learn it as well. You know what I mean? Like a system that's as simple as sprinklers and it's set up. And all you got to do is make sure that it's not overflowing or nothing crazy happens to it or, it doesn't get attacked by it, because we ain't the only person who love vegetables. I mean, every animal out here is down to eat your stuff. You know what I mean? So you have to make sure it's like protected and kept well. But I want to start creating these automated systems that allow parents who don't know anything about agriculture to be able to instill this into their children.
Yeah, like a micro agri-hood.
Exactly.
So wherever you are, if you live in, New York, apartment, Little Green,
exactly,
you can still bring a semblance of the agri-hood to yourself and also, to your family.
Exactly. Without really having to know how to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, bro, like, we think we know. Like, the first time I ever ate a burger that came from a cow, for real, like, I watched the process.
Well, you watched the process? I don't know if I could eat that.
Bro, yeah, it could be disturbing a little bit, you know what I mean? But it don't disturb your pockets as much as you thought it would, you know what I mean? And when you eat it, like, bro, I ate this burger and this cow didn't have any vaccines, no pour-ons, no nothing. I mean, it didn't even have fly spray on it. Mm. And I'm eating it and I'm like, this is the best burger I ever had in my life. Like, what is happening in my mouth right now? You know what I mean? And like all of these meat glues and processed foods, we've become so accustomed to it that we think that's normal, but it's so far from normal. Yeah. And I know I'm very optimistic about it because even my children, they be like, McDonald's, daddy? Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you slumming it that hard today. Okay, you know what I mean? If that's what you want to do, then we'll go fast food. But even my kids, they like, nah, we not doing that, And I think that the more information that is out there and the more we help people realize that it's really not as complicated.
And Help for Health, BC rates in America, all the processed foods and things like that. Mm-hmm. It tastes amazing.
Bro,
100%.
Bro, said nigga, the clone meat is delicious.
I ain't gonna cap. And it's easy. Hey, I'm personally, I don't cook.
Right.
I definitely need to cook more, but the time, things like that. But it was certainly, I've been packing on I've been getting a little bit pudgy.
Man, listen, man, we gonna have an agri kitchen set up in a minute. You know what I mean? If nothing else, if you feel like you need a cook, come holler at us.
I think my neighbor, Miss Valerie, she's she's setting up. We was talking earlier today. She's setting up a garden. I'm gonna probably try to grab some stuff from her.
Straight up. Straight up.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I feel like, now that we talking about it, that should be something that we like invest into.
Bring the agri-hood to DeSoto.
Straight up. Just telling people, hey, listen, we gonna pull up to your crib, we gonna put a garden in you. Look, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For real. That's the move though. That's the move, because they did this study in I want to say it was Austin, just to see like, if we were ever under attack or under siege and everything had to shut down, how much food.
Yeah, where we get food from? Yeah.
Bro, they got 2 days worth of food in Austin.
Yeah. Were you in Dallas during the winter freeze?
Bro.
And that's
not cool.
Like, if you don't, man, like we're so far gone from like, if something cataclysmic happened,
right?
I know I'm after.
Right. What we about to do? I'm gonna be one of the ones going, you know what I mean? But yeah, bro, that's why I'm just trying to help get us in the situation. Cause like, when you think about how crazy it is not to be able to feed yourself.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Like, if you think you've seen some crazy shit, because, I mean, you think broke will bring out the demon in somebody. Wait till you see hungry. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yeah, I'm from Africa.
Yeah, it's gonna be chaos. You know what I mean? It'll be chaos, bro. So, I'm just trying to make sure we don't get there. You know what I mean? Yeah, just... I feel like this is the first step, because my thing is, like, eat, live, create.
Yeah.
Because we all here to create. Rather it just simply be more people. We're here to create. So if you eat properly, it'll help you live properly. And once you living properly, you can create properly. And that's gonna make the mind go.
That's gonna grow.
Exactly. You ain't got no choice.
Yeah, where can we find information on the agri-hood? Where can I bring an agri-hood to DeSoto if I want to?
All right. So, for everybody, you can follow me at Jason Mitchell Actor, mostly on Instagram. Like, somebody's running my other pages, and they got a lot of fake stuff out there. But Jason Mitchell Actor on Instagram. I have all the links in the bio. Like, we're trying to give y'all this stuff as free as possible. So we putting it all on YouTube. We putting an entire show around it. Follow the whole journey so you can do this at home. And support us. We can't do this without you. And all we asking for is a view. You know what I mean? Even if you want to cook for the kids or clean your house up, just push play and just listen. Because we got a lot of good stuff that's coming for y'all. Y'all really going to love it. And I'm just trying to do my little part to help change the world. You know what I mean? So... Yeah.
When's the agri-hood? When are you guys launching? And when can people start? Contributing, being a part of it, living in the hood.
Yeah.
The agri-hood.
Yeah. So we are under construction. We're about maybe 16 months out from everything being fully built and all of that. But people can follow the entire journey. We're going to be dropping episodes every 2 weeks after that and just giving people constant updates on what's happening. If you would like to donate or be a part of it in any sort of way, please reach out. We got the 501c3 set up and all of that. So just please reach out. Please be a part of this. It takes a village, So from me to y'all, love y'all.
As I say again, thank you so much for taking the opportunity here to come, touch on the agri-hood, speak about your journey, your past, where you're going, where you're becoming. And I gotta say, honestly, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.